So I'm just about to cut out the bodice fabric for my dress design Dina. I've got my pattern pieces, so I've got 2 for the front, 1, 2, and then I've got 3 pieces for the back. So that's all ready to go. Rather than just having this fabric on its own, I actually back it with 2 other fabrics just to give it a bit more sort of weight. A really, really crisp line because the 2 other fabrics underneath it sort of help hold its form. So the fabrics that I use, this organza, and then underneath that I've got a lining as well. So I'm just cutting out the bodice now, all these bodice pieces, and I have actually cheated and I've put the 3 layers, all my rolls together. Once you've cut them out, you then have to put your notches on. So these notches add up to these notches. Can you see? These are your notches. So it's really important that each pattern piece has a notch on, so when you're sewing it acts like your marker. Don't cut all the way through your notches though, only like the tiniest snip. Otherwise, when you're sewing with your seam allowance, that's my seam allowance there, if you cut them all the way to there, you're then going to get a tear in the seam. Now you've got to layer all your pieces together. Be careful never to pin in the centre or outside your seam allowance because the pin might snag the fabric. It's one piece, just checking that that is the right side. If in doubt, the right side is always on the inside of the roll. So lining, organza, main fabric. So they've all been pinned, all been pressed. So I'm now ready to sew the backing pieces together. Only want to sew 2 sides, so then allow for a bit of movement in the fabric. So that's what I'm going to do. I put it on like a long stitch, so it doesn't pull, shorter stitches pull, and I tend just to stitch down within the seam allowance. I don't do a back stitch or anything. I will stitch, pick up, pull off, and then do the other side. I always use 1.5cm seam allowance. Right, they've all been sewn. Now I can give all of them a really good press. So once that's been done, put them in a pile with the rest of the fabric. Now I can do the bodice for taffeta. If you want to see more videos from my studio, then go over to YouTube and subscribe to my channel. Just search for Ellie Lowe.